So what kind of business do you have? And I don't mean what is it that you produce as a service or a product. I don't necessarily mean if you're home based or you got 100 employees. I'm talking about what kind of business do you have? Because for me, working with small business owners over the last 32 years, I've worked with thousands. And the big thing that happens when you have a business, and you're getting ready to agree with me, is that you somewhat lose your identity. Now, here's three things that I have come up with in talking to clients in terms of their business and their bottom line and making money, how they keep their identity. And that doesn't seem to add up, right? You're thinking, well, identity might be more emotional, it's kind of soft skill, or maybe it's all a bunch of hula. When you're talking about numbers and black and white, and are we in the red, are we in the black, and what are we spending money? Like, how do you bring these two things together? So I want you to remember one thing. When you first thought about being a business owner, many had either a business plan on a napkin or up here or maybe formally, but you set out, whether you bought or started from scratch your business, you set out with a picture in mind of what that business is going to be. Now, we know that as we're in business, we get better at it and we realize there's different ways to go about it, but it doesn't change the fundamental aspect of your vision for your business. And a lot of entrepreneurs see opportunity everywhere. Am I right? Don't you? And you think, gosh, if I can make some money doing that, then I can make some money doing this. So I got a story, and then I got two other things I want to tell you of the three. Quick story. So I started working with a salon. This is probably about 15 years ago. And when I went in, it was kind of interesting. There was jeans and clothing to the left, and at the counter was this beautiful display of home decor and a lot of candles. And then it was a full service salon in terms of, for hair. And when I came in, the business owner said, I am just really struggling with cash flow. And when I looked at their top line, there was plenty coming in. Didn't really see a lot of waste per se, but the vision that she had for her business was to have a salon. But as an entrepreneur, she told me, as I started working with her and getting more of the story, that her husband designed clothes and she would be wearing them. And people were like, oh, well, you got to start selling this. And then she did. And she's like, well, I might as well just expand my space and have some of that clothing here to sell. The other part was they burned these candles. And I don't remember where they came from. I don't think it was a family member that made them, but for whatever reason, it was something that was kind of unique. And people were like, well, where did you get these candles? They smell so wonderful and so pretty. And the container they're in, they're like, oh, here. And, well, can I buy some? Sure. And then before you know it, now there's a full big display of candles. And as a business owner, you're thinking, well, gosh, if we're bringing in money, but fundamentally that business was a salon. And so when we spread our interest looking in other directions, this way and this way, not focused here. Now, is it okay to have a candle company and have a clothing company? Sure. But you'd want to separate those out, even if it's not different LLCs, but you'd want to separate out into 3 bank accounts. Oh, that sounds hard. This is somebody that's losing money, okay? Having 3 bank accounts as a minimum, that when this line's being sold and this line's being sold and then hair products being sold and hairstyles and all that, having 3 different bank accounts and then figuring out what those expenses are. Oh, that sounds like a lot of work. Okay. But see, that's where the second thing comes in with an entrepreneur, is now you've lost some identity, right? Because now you're just finding ways to make money. But the thing is that an entrepreneur could sell cars. They could probably set up a tent and sell something by Sunday morning, picket fresh vegetables, birdhouses. An entrepreneur could figure out how to go door to door. They could figure out how to do anything online. An entrepreneur could sell anything. So you would want to figure out, well, what's maybe related to my business if I'm wanting to expand? What's not going to distract me? And if we're going to do these other lines of business, then who's going to take care of it versus that one business owner who's also, by the way, cutting hair, shampooing, putting on the hair color and all that good stuff, and running the salon and all the other stylists. And now, oh, there's no one actually helping people with jeans. There's no one really helping anybody with candles. It's just as needed. Therefore, none of it's really being sold. And now you have products sitting there, and now you have costs going out that aren't related to the main thing. And that's where that identity gets lost in terms of, well, what are we really doing here? Because the third thing that comes into play is that we as entrepreneurs typically have really big hearts, and we have really big ambitions, and we're optimistic, and we want to help people. That's why we've started a business, whatever it is. You're selling parts, you're selling auto service, you're selling lawn care services, you're selling accounting or dental or veterinary. I mean, pick any business that you want to pick, okay? You get into it because you like it, you're passionate, you want to share what you're passionate about, or you found a way to make money, but it's also probably something you like doing, I hope. And now you want to ensure that you're making your customers happy. And there's nothing wrong with that because you want your customers to come back, right? But now when we've started losing our identity, and maybe you're not selling jeans and candles in a stylist shop, but are you now doing things differently than when you first set out? In terms of your pricing, have you not gone up in pricing? Have you not paid attention to your costs? Maybe you go, no, I'm still just a stylist. Okay, then really when we're looking at that bottom line, why is it not what you thought when you first started? And it had nothing to do with, well, you didn't know your numbers, because I bet you knew your numbers best the moment you opened up your business. But now we get so many distractions. The phone's ringing, got to pay a vendor. Now a customer came in, another customer. Oh my gosh, we have 2 customers waiting. Now I need to hire help. And then, well, we need to move locations. We got low. Oh, and I got to make sure I get home, and I got to figure out how to make sure I'm still taking care of myself and my family. And all of a sudden we now have all this going on, right? And as we lose our identity and we're not paying attention to our numbers, and now we're in a situation where we're wanting to make our customers happy, this is where things can go down. Now, if you're really not going to be able to follow me, you'll probably absolutely disagree with me. And the reason I'm going to know that is because until I had a stroke, I would have said, no, I don't think I can run my business the way that you just said, JJ. I don't see it. I don't think that's how I want to run it. And here's the great news. You can run your business any way you want. Whatever I say is irrelevant. Maybe I'm just giving you a few things to think about, that you don't take any of them, but maybe it's giving you something else to think about to just make your life better, your business run a little better, right? But when you now start focusing in on, well, what do my customers need? And how do they want it? Oh, well, these customers, they need to be in at 8 a.m. So I guess I'll take my kid and drop them off before school, no problem. But now I got to get up earlier. And then normally I would grab a workout, but now I better be there at 8 a.m. Oh, and you know what? It seems like customers, like they really want to come in on a Saturday, even though we're open 5 days a week and it's just me and somebody else. Well, you know what? We'll do that because I want my customers to be happy. You bet, get in here. And then it's like, well, gosh, somebody didn't like the price. We just went up. And well, they said, why are you doing this and why are you doing that? And that's what a customer does. But until I had a stroke, I was meeting all of my customers' expectations. We know there was the saying that, probably was more prevalent 50 years ago, but it's, the customer's always right. But the thing here I want you to keep in mind is that this is your business and you can run it any way you want. But I'm assuming you got into business to make money with the fundamental vision that you had. And why did you want to make money? Well, you probably didn't want to work for somebody else, for starters. Why? Because you wanted to have freedom. Why? Because you wanted to spend time with your family. And what else? Well, hopefully I'm going to make more money. And have the flexibility. You name it. Do things the way that I want to do it. That's why you're a small business owner. Even if you have a side business in addition to your regular job, you have that vision. But when I had my stroke, what I realized was I had lost my identity in my business. I was doing a lot of different things, maybe all related to accounting, but life insurance, doing seminars, bookkeeping, payroll, maybe a little bit of sales tax, and then this kind of return and that kind of return, and then this kind of business and that kind of business. Where fundamentally, when I first started my practice, I was going to be following in the footsteps of my grandfather. Now, he was in California, I'm in Oklahoma, so I didn't take over his practice, but it was working in the service industry and small businesses. But as you grow, you have this kind of client and that kind of client. And I lost my identity so much, and I was meeting clients' expectations, as in if they needed it 24 hours and a turnaround, they needed it on Saturday, they had to have it by Monday, or I was going to work the weekend, or I better work late, or, well, somebody wants me to work with their friend or their parent or their other business friend. Oh, yeah, I'll help because I love what I'm doing. And as I lose that identity and I'm doing things, now all of a sudden I'm meeting everybody else's expectations. And you're like, well, that didn't sound like a bad thing. Okay. But I'm now stressed to the max. I'm doing too many things. I am distracted. I'm probably not really got my eye on one ball. I've got them on a lot. What's it taking away from my personal life, etc. And what I had to realize, and I'm so glad that you got to hear, is that I needed to change my business fundamentally back to the beginning, which was, here's what I'm going to offer my clients, and here are my expectations for my business. Customers, if you want to meet my expectations, we are a fit. But I'm not going to be able to meet your expectations if they are outside of my expectations. One example, we're all familiar with Chick-fil-A, McDonald's. Well, let's not use McDonald's because they do a lot of different products. Chick-fil-A. So when you go to Chick-fil-A, I bet they could make a mean burger. I bet they could make phenomenal tacos and steaks. I bet they could really figure out how to deliver a superior product in addition to their chicken products. But if you know anything about Chick-fil-A, you know that for a long time, their motto is a cow saying, eat more chicken, right? Making it very clear, we don't serve beef. Like part of the ad campaign, we're just chicken. So if I go to Chick-fil-A and I say, listen, I'm here for 3 meals a day. I'm bringing the entire city every time. I'm spending a lot of money with you, Chick-fil-A. And I would appreciate it if you would be open on Sundays. Even though you're closed on Sundays, I really would like you to be open on Sundays. I want to be able to come in and have a nice brunch if you could just be open for a couple hours on Sunday. And then the other thing is, I would love on Sundays for you to have waffles and pancakes to go with your chicken. Makes sense. People do waffles and chicken. And by the way, Friday nights, here's what would be great. I'd love to be able to come in and just get a wonderful burger from you. And here's what Chick-fil-A would say. Wow, we appreciate your business. Thank you so much. And we want to give you the best product that we can. Here's what we do. Here's our expectation for our customer. They want chicken, and they want it quickly, and they want these kind of chicken, and that's it. But gosh, I don't know what to tell you. We're not going to be able to be open Sunday. We're not going to serve pancakes and waffles. We're not going to serve burgers. And I'm sorry that we're not meeting your expectations, but these are our expectations. And if you fit within that, well, now it's going to work wonderfully. And I bet there'd be a lot of small business owners that could say, you know how much money Chick-fil-A is leaving on the table not being open on Sunday? You know how much money Chick-fil-A is leaving on the table not selling pancakes and waffles or maybe burgers? You know how much money they're losing? But what they realized was, here's our identity. Here's what we functionally want to do. Here's how we're going to do it. Here's the price. Here's the hours. Here's the product. And that's how we're going to deliver it. And so come for that. Here's our expectations for you. And now it's a great fit. And I bet That is one of the reasons that Chick-fil-A would be a very well organized company, well-oiled machine, as they may say. The way they deliver it, and the product, and the quality, and the consistency. So after I had the stroke, I said, even though I'm in the tax business, I need to be running my practice like Chick-fil-A. So I had to turn my expectations and go, you know what? Here's my expectations. And so let me give you a minor example of my changes. So we have a deadline in the tax industry, April 15th. You can file an extension, and then you can have till October 15th. So what we told our clients is, we're not going to be filing returns after April 15th. We need all of your documents for your business by January 31st. It's not possible that you don't have everything we need by January 31st, because quite frankly, you have it probably by the 10th, if not the 15th, for sure by the 20th. Then there's no reason you can't get us what we need by the 31st. And if you haven't kept your books up to date, then you decided to do that, because by January 31st, we need everything and reconciled related to your books so that we can get your tax return done for your business, your S Corp or your partnership in February. And we need all business returns done by the end of February. And by February 15th, we need all of your individual tax documents, because other than statements from stock brokerage houses, all tax documents to be sent to individuals are to be sent to that recipient by January 31st. So by mid-February, all individuals should have everything that they need to file their taxes. If they don't, it's only because of their lack of organization. It's only because their lack of interest. Now, if we say February 15th, well, by golly, the statements that come from the brokerage houses, well, they're out on the 15th and they're online. Nowadays, there's no real, I got to wait for the mail anymore. And so what we told our clients is we really need it by February 15th, but no later than the end of February. Because see, at the end of February, we have finished all the business returns, so that in March, we're now working on individual returns. Now, of course, we'll start working on individuals as they come in. Because what we said is we're not preparing tax returns past March 31st. Period. Can't do it. See, I had life and death. It's if I'm in a hospital having a stroke and the neurologist says, how long do you want to live, son? Because you'll be dead by April 15th. You no longer can work overtime. Ever. So do I say to a client, you know what, I'll work overtime for you, but I won't be here April 16th, so I'll be sure to get you done one more tax season, but I don't know who's going to help you after April 15th. And listen, I'm telling you ahead of time, I'm telling you at the beginning of December, here's what we need. You have plenty of notice and time. You have all these documents by then. If you decide not to meet my expectation, then I'm not going to be able to deliver, because I have to have the time, especially now not working overtime. And you can say, well, why didn't you hire people? Listen, that's going and buying jeans. That's going and or selling jeans and selling candles. That's selling burgers. What do you mean? I'm in a life or death situation. You think I'm going to start trying to figure out how to hire people? Let me tell you this right now. I'm making more money net than I did when I had people, because I had to downsize. And the clients that I knew were not going to fit in that space. I said, you know why you're not going to fit in this space? Because I've let you get it to me whenever you want and get it to me later and get it to me in a mess. And I've just been meeting your expectations. And unfortunately, I can't even wait for you to tell me whether or not you can meet this expectation, because you never have in 27 years. And so the clients I'm going to keep are the ones that are already doing that. You're like, oh, I just can't believe you did all that. Don't you worry about me, okay? You run your business, I ran mine. So I'm working less hours. I have my expectations. Clients are meeting them. I'm making more money. I don't know what you want from me. So you don't need to worry about me, okay? You don't need to give me any suggestions or any of that kind of stuff. What I want you to do is now just take any of this little kernel. You go, yeah, I'm moving on. Thanks for nothing, JJ. But what I'm trying to do is give you encouragement. It's okay. By the way, we only had 9 extensions. We did 500 tax returns. We only had 9 extensions. And the only reason we had extensions is because those 9 clients were waiting on another CPA firm to finish a business that they were invested in to then send a K1. And K1s, if extended, aren't produced and sent out. They have all the way till September 15th. But we only had 9 extensions. And then here's what's great. I was able to not work overtime, but then the rest of the year focus in on planning and value. I made plenty of money because now I had time to actually do what the clients want me to do. See, the client's real expectation for me and my business is to help them pay no more, no less than their fair share of taxes, to just do it properly. So by having the time to do it, by them meeting my expectations, that allows me to provide the quality. Not only that, but then to spend the rest of the year doing planning, puts us in a position where I'm actually delivering what it is that my client wants. When somebody goes to Chick-fil-A, they're wanting that chicken, and they're getting it in the timeliness and in the manner and all that good stuff. And so from that perspective, I hope that you will take this and realize it's your business, your vision. It's okay to have your own expectations. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to tell you before we close here that I've got a small group, a tax consulting group. I'm not taking on new clients for me, but it's a tax consulting group of small business owners and other tax professionals, CPAs and EAs. And we get together every 10 days and I have a group meeting with everybody and do some other stuff that's kind of adds to it, a community platform where we can put Q&A up there. But it's a community. And in part, it's a community for us all together to keep doing these things. Because I can tell you this, we all slide backwards, right? All right, hey, thanks for tuning in. I'd love it if you'd subscribe. And then don't you ever forget, you've never met a CPA quite like me. You have a great one.